It's official. Adelita Grijalva's victory in Arizona's 7th Congressional District has been certified by the Arizona Board of Elections. And despite that, Speaker Mike Johnson and Republicans in the House of Representatives continue to delay her official swearing in for two reasons, but one primarily. And that is because they don't want her to become the 218th signature on the discharge petition to release the Epstein Files. Now, folks, this is an issue that should be talked about every single day. I have made it my mission to talk about it every single day. I've spoken to survivors of Epstein's horrific crimes, several of them, over the last several months, and they want the files released. It'll give them closure. It'll give them justice. And that's what they deserve after decades of trauma and abuse at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and potentially others, unnamed individuals that we don't know. Many of these individuals were even minors at the time of the abuse, and they deserve answers, and they deserve the release of the files. And well, we're at 217 signatures. We've been at 217 signatures for a long time. We can get to 218 signatures with Grijalva's signature, but Mike Johnson, despite the Arizona Board of Elections officially certifying her today, has refused to swear her in. And while now, Attorney General Chris Mays from Arizona has issued a stern warning to House Speaker Mike Johnson, threatening significant legal action if the Speaker continues to block Grijalva's swearing in. Let me read you some parts of her letter to Johnson today. It's way past time for Mike Johnson to stop the political games and seat Adelita without delay. We are keeping every option open to us, including litigation, to hold him accountable and make sure that Adelita is able to begin her work as Arizona's newest member of Congress. Ms. Grijalva no longer needs a House resolution to be sworn into office. With the House in possession of the certificate of election, it is now a simple ministerial duty to administer the oath of office. Grijalva, for her part, issued the following statement moments ago. Today's certification simply confirms what the voters made clear 21 days ago. We won this election decisively by more than 40,000 votes. And I want to thank Governor Hobbs, Attorney General Mays, and Secretary Fontes for fulfilling their duties and standing up for the more than 800,000 Arizonans who currently do not have a voice in Congress. They did their jobs. Now it's time for Speaker Johnson to do his. I also want to thank Attorney General Mays for her letter. I will continue to be in close contact with her as we explore legal options if the Speaker continues to drag his feet. Speaker Johnson has exhausted every excuse to delay my swearing in. I am simply asking him to abide by the same precedent he set when he swore in his Republican colleagues within 24 hours of their special elections and during pro forma sessions earlier this year. Any further delay reveals his true motive. Speaker Johnson is stalling because he knows I will be the 218th signature on the discharge petition to release the Epstein Files. The cost of his obstruction is the silencing of over 800,000 Southern Arizonans who deserve to have a voice in Congress. It is also robbing them of the essential constituent services they count on every day, especially during this Republican government shutdown. Now, Speaker Johnson has defended this delay, arguing that the timing of Grijalva swearing in coincides with ongoing efforts to pressure Senate Democrats into accepting a House-passed stopgap bill to fund the government through November 21st. Johnson has canceled several voting sessions, keeping the House in recess for weeks. The current date, October 20th. That's the earliest the House of Representatives would come back into session as it currently stands. But Democrats note that Johnson previously swore in two Republican members from Florida during pro forma sessions in April. Remember the special elections back in Florida replacing Mike Walz, who's the current UN ambassador, replacing Matt Gaetz, who was Donald Trump's pick to be attorney general, is now a media personality? Well, yeah, after Republicans won those seats, they were sworn in quickly thereafter in a pro forma session, a similar pro forma session to the one we're in now. And even Fox News is demanding answers from Mike Johnson. Today, Chad Pergram, Fox News' senior congressional correspondent, pressed Johnson about whether the speaker's delay was politically motivated, saying, "You said last week that you would swear in Adelita Grijalva whenever she wants. She's written a letter to your office. You've not sworn her in. Doesn't your resistance to not swear her in add fuel to the fire that this is about the Epstein Files?" Johnson said, "No. Let's talk about Grijalva and Epstein." Okay, once more for everyone. Everybody in Congress, I think, is for maximum transparency of the Epstein Files. Not true. That is underway right now. Let me point out before I go further, all the files were in the possession of the Biden-Harris Department of Justice for 4 years. Every single thing that we're talking about right now was in their sole possession.
Mr. Speaker, good morning. Thank you. You said last week that you would swear in Adelita Grijalva whenever she wants. She's written a letter to your office. You've not sworn her in. I understand about pro forma sessions.
Yes.
Doesn't your resistance to not swear her in add fuel to the fire that this is about the Epstein Files?
No. Let's talk about Grijalva and Epstein. Okay. Once more for everybody. Everybody in Congress, I think, is for maximum transparency of the Epstein Files. That is underway right now. Let me point out before I go further, all of the files were in the possession of the Biden-Harris Department of Justice for 4 years. Every single thing that we're talking about right now was in their sole possession. They could have released it. They could have done anything. Ro Khanna, all the Democrats who are jumping up and down making noise about this, didn't say a peep about it for 4 years. I don't know why, but this is another partisan manufactured thing. Is it a serious problem? Yes. I've sat with the victims, some of the ladies who bravely have come forward and talked about the horrors that they sustained because of traffickers on Epstein Island and all the things he was involved in. Everybody involved in that should have the full weight of justice descend upon their head. And we're all for that. We want every single person who had anything to do with that to be exposed. But there's as many as 1,000 victims estimated. That's what the victims say. There may be 1,000 women who were made to suffer these unspeakable harms because of this. Many of them were underage at the time. They have not all chosen to come forward like some of these other brave women have for obvious reasons. And we have to make sure that when the files are released, their names are redacted so they don't suffer further harm. We have a duty and a responsibility. You can't just wave a wand and just, open the floodgates. You have to make sure that the victims don't suffer additional harms. That's all we've said. Let's make sure it's done the right way. The Grijalva, that's underway, by the way. The House Oversight Committee asked the Democrats and Republicans on that committee who are working on that vigorously. As I said, some of the biggest, bulldogs in Congress are on that committee, and they're all joined together in a bipartisan fashion, digging through and releasing documents. 34,000 documents so far, and more on the way. In fact, as I noted a couple of days ago, the attorneys for the House Oversight Committee, during the shutdown, are still doing work. They were in New York City combing through the Epstein estate files. By the way, that was never even mentioned or anticipated in the discharge petition, for those of you who are following all the details of this. So more is coming out. We're for all of it coming out as soon as possible. The only thing we want to make sure of is that the innocent victims are protected, and I think we have a responsibility to do that. With regard to...
Folks, that answer is just not true, because it's only deepened suspicions among Democrats and transparency advocates who view the delay as a move to block progress on the Epstein Files petition. And not just that, by not swearing her in, you get to a point where we're in a government shutdown in Arizona 7th Congressional District. The 800,000 people that live there, they don't have a voice in Congress. They don't have someone giving them constituent services during this critical time. And that's why it's so important that we continue to advocate for this issue. I will not stop as a reporter talking about this every single day, because that's what the survivors deserve, and that's what the people of Arizona 7th deserve. So make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Hey folks, Aaron Parnas here. Thank you so much for watching The Parnas Perspective. Please consider subscribing to support our work as we grow this independent news media entity into something that rivals mainstream every single day. Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon.